Hey everyone, welcome back to the Anderson Bros Outdoors. I'm Jake, and today we're going to do a final review on the Redcat Ascent. Alright, so typically I don't do this sort of thing. I don't do 2-3 reviews on one vehicle, but the Redcat Ascent has stirred up such controversy that I feel like I want to provide some more insight, having ran probably 30 or so battery packs through it between myself and some other individuals. There have been people that have asked me, what I think of the truck overall, would I recommend it, things of that nature. So I'm just going to go from A to Z and tell you my experience with this truck to date and how I feel about it. So let's get started. So first things first, it comes in a box just like this. It comes with this body and it comes with these wheels and tires. So I'm going to touch on these wheels and tires first. I think the tires feel pretty good. The compound actually feels pretty decent for an RTR or ready to run tire. The issue though is that these plastic wheels are not bead-locked. They're glued onto these tires. I spent probably an hour trying to deglue them by baking and boiling them. Really about 2 hours, an hour each, and I was unsuccessful. I don't know which of these tires was which, but you can see they're all still glued on there. They do sell the wheels and tires separately, so you can actually buy these tires not on the wheels. However, there are better options out there for the price. I'm not saying they're terrible tires, but since there are better options for almost the same price, I'm going to say that this is really kind of a waste of money. So the radio and the receiver, I actually really like them. I don't really like how big and bulky the radio is, but it feels really good in your hand. It is a 4-channel radio. I don't know why they put a 4-channel system on here. I'm guessing because it was the cheapest option instead of just making a 2-channel or whatever. There is potentially lights that you can add. I don't know. I'm not really well versed in Redcat, which is why I was so interested in this truck specifically. It works. I like it. I would say it's probably one of the better RTR radios. I think the Traxxas has the best RTR radio. And then I would say maybe that and the Spectrum radios that are RTR, they're pretty comparable in the second place. So let's move in and let's just go from the top down on the truck. So this body, I really like this body. One of the things that I like the most about the body is that it comes apart. They actually separate with some screws. Really like that because it gives everyone options. There's nothing more that I hate than going to a meet or a competition or whatever and seeing the same body. The Power Wagon, the Toyota. I mean, those things are really played out in my mind, and it's just like I don't even want to go and take my truck there because like, oh, here's my truck and it may have a different color in a sea of other trucks that have the same body, maybe different colors. I like diversity, I like options, and I like that this body here specifically comes in 2 pieces. Now the red body I do not think comes in 2 pieces. I'm not sure. I don't have one. It's not perfect by any means, but it does have some stickers around it. It does have see-through windows. I mean, it is ready for potentially an interior with a person or whatever you want to put in there, figurine, if that's what you want to call it. I really like how it attaches. It just snaps into place and then you pull it back, and then what holds the cab on is there's some divots here that the screw heads sit in. So they sit in this plastic piece. So I really like the cab overall. Moving into the rest of the truck, we did determine that these axles are indeed Gen 9, I believe, axles. So you can put the brass from those on the axles. It does have the divorce transfer case from the motor. The motor sits in the front of the truck and pushes that weight to the front. And then the transfer case sits in the middle with the center of gravity. And so it gives you a nice 60-40 weight distribution from the factory. So I'll just keep moving down. The servo is fantastic for an RTR servo, probably the best one I've ever used. I don't have any way to measure it, but that is coming very soon. So within the next few weeks, I will have a video on testing servos, and I will test a slew of them, or all of them that I have. Be on the lookout for that. Moving back, we have the stock brushed motor, and the ESC sits here from the factory and has stock brush motor. Those leave a lot to be desired, like many other RTR vehicles. That was the first thing to go. I replaced it with this Fusion Pro. It is the Gen 1 Fusion Pro, so it is an 1800 kV, which you can't actually purchase anymore. They are 2300 kV Fusion Pros now, and then the 1800 kV and the 1100 kV, I think, are Fusion SEs. I think the Fusion SE works just as good as the Pro, personally. There may be a very slight difference, but as long as you have good electronics in terms of a radio receiver. It's very, very negligible. And it's about $60 to $70 cheaper to go with the SE. If you're on a budget, I would go with the SE over the Pro for a variety of reasons. Once we put the 2-in-1 motor in here, we got rid of the ESC, and really, that's all we needed to do in terms of purchasable upgrades outside of wheels and tires. A couple of the other things that we did, we removed the internal springs in the shocks from the front and the rear, and then we also flipped the rears and moved them to get a little more articulation out of them, because from the factory, the articulation on this truck sucks. It's non-existent. In the rear, we ended up flipping these link brackets so that way we weren't dragging like you are in the front here. We haven't done it in the front. We did end up breaking a rear link. Outside of that, we haven't really done anything to the truck. We did confirm all of the gears are metal with the exception of the transfer case gears. I think those are plastic, but it's not a huge concern. It takes about 3 screws to get it apart, swap out the gears, and keep going. I have seen where people are breaking these. Not only are they breaking the links, they're breaking the axles, the portal housings. It's pretty crazy. I think the weak link here are the links and the axles. I think the rest of the truck is probably relatively okay once you do the modifications we talked about. Now that we've gone over that stuff, let's address the elephant in the room, price. The price of this truck is $299.99 or $289.99 depending on the color of vehicle you get, red or blue. In my mind, they're both $300. Not a huge difference there. This is where we hit the conundrum. I would say a mediocre price tag. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's certainly not a $400, $500, $600 RTR. But what do you get? I mean, you get a truck where you have to immediately replace the wheels and tires. Your axles could potentially break. You're going to need a new motor in ESC because the stock one is very, very, very inconsistent and very hard to control or modulate while you're trying to do climbs. Let's face it, this truck was built to compete in Class 2. It is a flat rail truck designed to be an entryway into the Class 2 realm. But is it worthy to be Class 2? Even if you buy cheap Injora wheels, you're spending $40 at minimum. We'll say $45 shipped with tax. You need to buy tires. Tires are probably $30 a pair, so that's $60. We'll say $75 with tax and shipping. 45 plus 75. I'm not a rocket surgeon here, so $120 we're at. That's just wheels and tires. I would say budget $150 for wheels and tires, and that's just one upgrade. So your $300 price tag without tax, so probably we'll say $325 with tax out the door, depends on the state that you're in. You're immediately going to add another $150, so that's $475 right out the door. All you've done is added wheels and tires of the cheapest kind. Now, if you buy some SSD or Vanquish or RC four-wheel drive, pick your wheel type, you're going to be spending a lot more than $40, $50 for a set of wheels. You're at $475 easy. Now, let's take into account that you buy a Fusion SE. That's $80. We'll say $90 shipped to your door with tax. $100. Make it easier. You're going to save maybe $10. $475 turns into $575. That's a pretty big difference. You go from $300 to almost $600 with just 2 modifications. Well, Jake, that's all I need. All I need is wheels and tires and a 2-in-1 motor. Maybe, potentially. What happens if you break something? What happens if you want to add more brass to the front? You know, what happens if it doesn't do what you want it to do? I've seen a lot of scenarios where somebody buys this because it's cheap and then adds $400 to $500 worth of stuff to it. At what point does the return not outweigh buying something better? I'm not saying that this is a bad truck by any means, but I think that if I were to purchase this truck, it would be for someone that wants to come with me on occasion, or a child, or something along those lines where if it breaks, it breaks. It's not going to be super competitive. It's going to be for somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, doesn't really understand, and just wants to have fun. But at that point, why would I buy this and not something like a Traxxas TRX4 Sport? It's only a little bit more expensive, and I promise you it's way more durable and just as effective as this. I wouldn't need to change anything on that truck. I wouldn't need to change the electronics. The servo sucks, sure, but it gets the job done. The wheels and tires are far better than these. Why would you buy this truck over that? You're $600 deep into this truck. What's stopping you from buying something that's actually capable? I'm not saying that this is incapable. At the end of the day, it's your money. If you're going to spend $600+ on something, why not buy another truck, such as the TRX4 Sport kit or the RTR TRX4 Sport for, I think they're just under $400. Like I said, they come with much better wheels and tires. Well, really tires. The wheels are plastic and glued as well, but the tires are probably one of the best on an RTR. The electronics are capable. You don't have to immediately replace the motor in the ESC because They're easy to control. It just works right out of the box. Another truck, for example, would be the Pheonix RTR, straight axle. Is it a straight axle? For sure. Is it expensive? Absolutely. They're $490. Right out of the box, it just works. The wheels and tires, the wheels are actually beadlock plastics. The tires are phenomenal. I don't think they're as good as the Canyon Trails, but they work really, really well. And I'm actually competitive versus this $300 where I'm not. This is all food for thought, of course. I don't really care. If you like the Redcat Ascent, I would encourage you to go get one. I'm not sponsored by Redcat. I didn't get this for free. Every truck that I have shown in any video that I have, I've paid for personally. This channel is not sponsored by anyone. My opinion is not biased. Now, there are some brands that I really like, but again, that's my personal opinion. Circling back to where we're at with this truck, I would love to understand how you feel about it. Please leave a comment. Let me know. I've seen so many people purchasing these trucks. It's crazy. Just to turn around and dump $300, $400, $500 into it, thinking that it's going to be super competitive if they do that. Like, the initial price point is lower, but you're spending just as much money at the end of the day as you would on something else, such as an Axial or a Traxxas or a Vanquish. I think that it probably needs a little more modification. For me, I've gotten it to do things that I didn't think that it would do, and it is overall all around fun. That is the point of this hobby, is to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. The problem is we have so many people telling each other how or what to do. Would I buy the truck again? Probably not. It's a fun truck, but I have other way more capable trucks. Moral of the story, you get what you pay for. We are going to be doing a servo testing video. I appreciate you making it this far. I hope you had a happy holidays. I hope you have a great 2024. And until next time, have a great day.